I'm reading from, well, I'm using it more as a reference. If you're interested, it's a book by David Frawley, and it's called Mantra Yoga and Primal Sound, because that's the focus where all this year I'm focusing on the practice of sound vibration, and in particular the Bija mantra. The word Bija, B-I-J-A, it means root or seed. And so, and the word mantra is an interesting word. It's twofold. M-A-N, man, relates to the mind or indicates the mind. And then T-R-A, tra, at the end of it, indicates training or a tool. And so the word mantra is a tool for the mind. The Bija mantra are the seed tools for the mind. And we've gone through this here so far. We focused on Om. Everybody knows Om, right? Om gets all this attention, A-U-M, very popular. And then we focused on I'm, A-I-M. And I put those two together. Om is a tool for clearing away clutter. I think of Om as like, you know, when you put away all the things where they belong, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have a kitchen table. That's how Om works. Or like at the end of the day in the school, you know, we erase the whiteboard. You're like, oh, all that clutter is gone. And then I'm is the tool for helping you to see the creativity, that potential that exists. So your kitchen table can be a place to eat. It can be a place to do a puzzle. It can be a place to do your homework. It can be a place where you create. So that's what I'm does. It says, hey, this isn't a kitchen table. It could be all these things. It's not just a whiteboard. It can be many things. And so we clear away the clutter, and then I'm gives us the ability to say, hey, there's potential here. And this month, we're focusing on HRIM, which is H-R-I-M. And we've been breaking this word down because in the word HRIM, in this Bija mantra, there are various sounds. So we talked about ha, and the sound ha indicates prana, space, and light. So when we say ha, it's like indicating that there's this movement of energy, that there's light, that there's space. So ha is really useful. And I think about how ha, like laughter, gives you this sense of joy and elation, right? And so this is what ha indicates. And the second sound in HRIM is ra. And ra indicates fire and light and dharma. So ra is like, hey, the work that needs to be done, and the work, where does it come from? It comes from within you. It's your duty. So we've cleared the space with Om. We've identified that there's potential. We know that we can spread our energy, our light, our love, but it has to come from a specific place. We can't just be willy-nilly doing things. So we have to think about, all right, what's my duty? What's the work I have to do? What do I have to put out into the world? And now today we focus on E, the letter I, which is pronounced E in the word HRIM. And this indicates energy, focus, and motivation. So I think about myself, like I can flit and float around the house or around the yard and like do little things without really focusing on anything. Or I can really focus upon one task and do that task really well with intention and with direction. And that's what E is all about, that sound vibration of saying, all right, let me hone in, let me really focus upon the work that has to be done, upon what I'm going to create, upon the energy I'm going to put out there, and let me do it well and with direction and passion and drive. So that's what E is all about. So as we focus on HRIM, we have all these little pieces within this sound vibration, and it's this very powerful, motivating sound. So that's our Bija mantra for today. So you might find moments in our practice where you feel like, I want to expand. And you might find moments in the practice where you're like, I need to like dig down deep and like find my drive, find my reason for doing this. You might be like, I feel like I'm just going to keep going with this because I have the motivation to do so. So feel free to make sounds as appropriate, or maybe you just hear them inside your head and you don't need to express them out. It's up to you. So we're going to begin our practice today, my focus is on opening up. I've been feeling really tight right in my pectorals, in the front of my chest, and through the front of my arms. And I think it's probably because I'm spending way more time on the computer. I'm spending more time forward like this. I've been riding my road bike a little bit. And so I want to go like this. And that's where I thought we'd begin today, trying to open up everything in our front bodies. And so the only tool that we need to do that right now is a blanket. And the blanket is basically just going to create a cushion for us. So I'm opening my blanket up and laying it upon my mat. You have a couple choices. I've opened my blanket up so it's this size, and then I've laid it along my mat. You can also give it a half fold, so you've got it one thicker part and then a thinner part, and you'll see why in a moment. I'm going to demonstrate this to you before we get into the posture. So we're going to lay on our bellies, but we'll be off to the left-hand side of the blanket. So I'm on the left edge of my mat, and I'm going to extend right arm outward, straight from my shoulder. So my wrist, elbow, and shoulder are in alignment. And lay on my belly with right arm out. Left hand, and I'm going to mirror right now. Left hand is going to come underneath shoulder with elbow bent. And then we're going to rotate and roll onto right side, stacking feet and hips. But keep your right arm extended out behind you. So I'm just going to adjust and rotate around so that I'm not facing my back to you. And you can see that posture with me having my right arm out so I don't get confused. And if you don't like the posturing of your head, you can put a blanket or a pillow or a block underneath your head in order to put your neck in a more neutral position. I kind of like the stretch I get, allowing my head to fall down to the earth here. And so as you rest here, you're keeping your right palm flat on the ground. Your right arm is going to feel crooked. It's going to feel like it's not in the right spot, but it is. And we're just going to lay here. So you can relax your left elbow a little bit, let it drop towards your chest. Your feet are stacked, your hips are stacked, and just breathe there, balancing in this position. If you feel like it's a lot of work to keep your feet stacked, you can always just let your left foot fall behind your right foot a little bit, so it gives you a little bit of leverage, or more like a kickstand to balance you there. And breathe deeply there. Kind of rest here, letting your chest open. While you remain in this posture, you can always make micro adjustments. You might decide to untuck your right shoulder a little more so that it pulls away and behind you, and you feel more space between your right shoulder and your chest. Try to take deep inhales and express long exhales. So we're opening across our chest right now. Each of the energetic clusters in our body, the chakras, has its own seed mantra or bija mantra. And the throat chakra, which is called Vishuddha, its bija mantra, seed mantra, is actually the sound hum. And so you might notice it's really close to what we hear in HRIM, that ha, that hum. And the throat chakra, the Vishuddha, is actually associated with the idea of space, of expression, of truth. And then just below it is the heart, where we're opening a little bit more than in the throat right now. And that bija mantra is yum. I always think that's funny because your heart has the sound yum instead of your navel chakra, which I would think would be yum. Two more breaths here. And then on your next breath out, you'll just gently roll back onto your belly. And make your arms into a comfortable position so you can stretch both arms out. You can bend your elbows, put your hands into a stack position and rest your forehead. Whatever feels right for you. And this is a great moment for Svadhyaya, for a little self-study, observing how your right arm, right shoulder feels, if there's any pain, discomfort, if there's any more ease or openness. And we'll transition to the other side. So I'm going to rotate around so that I'm facing the front here, and it'll be left arm. And we move our way over to right edge of the blanket, or the mat. So you're on the right edge of your mat with left arm extended out this time. And right hand beneath your shoulder. And so look over, make sure left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist are all in alignment. Left palm is on the earth. And then you'll roll over to left side, onto your left shoulder, onto your left hip. Stack your feet. You can either put a block or a pillow underneath your head on the left side, or you can just let your head drop to the earth. And then we'll breathe there. Again, balancing there, keeping your left hip, left shoulder on the earth. If it's uncomfortable, keeping your feet stacked, you can always just let your right foot slide back and behind, right foot slide back and behind your left foot so that it gives you a little bit of balance. And then as you remain in this posture, you might decide maybe you shift your left shoulder a little bit out from underneath you and just remain there. You can close your eyes and breathe and feel that openness now moving through left side. I even get a little bit of spinal traction in this posture. That little bit of twist is affecting my hips and my low back. So you might notice other parts of your body being affected by this posture. Let your right elbow relax. It doesn't need to stay pointed to the ceiling. Right hand is light upon the earth. It's just there to give you a little support. Deep inhale. Long exhales, and if you want to, you can reflect upon sound vibration at your throat, hum. Sound vibration in your chest, yum. And even though it sounds like I'm saying H-U-M and Y-U-M, it's actually H-A-M, Y-A-M. But it would be weird if our mantra was yam and ham as we move through our chakras. Yam and hum. Deep breaths, long exhales. Relax, hands, feet. Release shoulders, jaw, hips. Three more deep full inhales, long exhales. Really fill up and expand. And exhale, empty completely. And when you next exhale, roll back onto your belly. And again, you can extend your arms wide, or you can stack your hands. Being aware, try and stack opposite hand on top. And if you're resting your forehead on your hands, take a little moment, Svadhyaya. Now you get to compare right to left. next exhale, bring your hands in so that they're right beneath your shoulders. Your thumbs point towards your sternum, elbows tight to your sides, and then pressing into your palms, lift into a cobra pose. Your elbows remain back, but press your sternum forward and stretch from pubic bone to belly button and belly button to sternum. Take a deep breath there, and then lift with your belly, push back, come into a table pose. You're on your hands and knees. And you can adjust your blanket if you'd like to bring it so it's beneath your knees as a nice little cushion. Now you can use either blocks for this next position. You can use a chair. If you have a chair handy, you can use a sofa. You can use a countertop, whatever happens to be available to you. But the idea is that we want to get our hands up onto an elevated support. So I've got my blocks up here at level 2, so they're at the 6-inch height. If you're using a chair, you're just putting your hands right up on the chair or the sofa or whatever you're using. Try not to use something that'll fall over because that's dangerous. And then we'll take our knees as wide as the mat or blanket and bring big toes together. And then keep your palms rooted onto the support you've chosen and send your hips back, settling them towards your heels, and your arms extend, your chest drops down. And we're allowing our arms to be lifted as our chest drops below them. So we're stretching underneath armpits, we're stretching latissimus dorsi, pectorals, triceps. As we release into this posture, we let belly and chest drop between our thighs and head drops down. So there's this openness being created in our back body, a little bit of spinal extension in this posture as belly drops. And breathe there. You can always crawl your hands further and further forward if you want more extension through your arms. Adjust your head so that your neck has length. You can even rock a little bit left to right in order to give yourself a little space through your hips, to stretch out your thighs a little more and to lengthen your back. Four more breaths here, deep and full. And just let your hands and arms drop off the blocks. They can come to either side or in the center. And let your body rest down on the earth, getting as low as you can. And then on your next exhale, walk your hands back toward you. Come onto palms and lift hips up, and then put your knees back beneath your hips and just pause in a table pose for a moment. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Exhales are good opportunities for ha's and ra's and ease. And then if you are using blocks or any other tools that you placed on your mat, go ahead and move those off to the side so they're out of the way. And then we're going to keep our blanket as we have it folded, but we're going to come and rest on our back. And you'll need your strap. So the blanket goes underneath your upper back. The rounded part can go right at your lumbar spine, so your sacrum and your hips are down on the earth. Our strap. So somehow, if you can, you're going to create a big loop in your strap. So of course mine, I can easily adjust and make a big loop, and I've got this nice 10-foot long strap, so I can create about 4 feet or so a loop. And I'm going to place that around my back. So it's right at my shoulder blades, right at mid-back, right at your bra line, basically. And then I'm going to make sure that the bitter end, the dangly part, is moving towards me rather than moving away. So instead of it needing to be pulled up, I can pull it down. So you can see how it comes out of my clip there, and I can pull it down. And then my feet are going to go into the strap and up to the ceiling. Now you have 2 options here. First is just to have your feet as they are. Those of you that have blocks, you can place a block between your feet and then put the strap on, and the block will keep your feet from coming together.
My strap's not big enough.
Well, we're going to be making it shorter in a moment. So if you're in a bent knee position with the strap around your feet, that's not a bad thing, because right now I've got a little slack, so I'm going to pull on the strap in order to pull my legs towards me so I get this big stretch through the backs of my legs. So see if you can make that adjustment. And I'm sure you can see now my knees are bent a little bit because my hamstrings are really tight. My calves are a little tight. And you can always hold on with the back, onto the backs of your legs with your hands as well, or the backs of your outside edges of your feet if you can reach, if you need that variation. If you've got the strap set up though, you just take your arms either out to the sides, or my favorite, palms face away and then arms overhead. So you keep getting that openness that we already created through the previous posture. And you're just going to breathe there, letting the strap do its job. There's a little bit of hatha, a little bit of effort in this practice as you press up with your legs, with your feet. And so if you're holding with your hands, you can always just bring your hands together, hold on to the backs of your thighs, and pull your legs in, trying to keep shoulders on the earth. And the effort would be more so in your arms than anywhere else in this practice. And we'll just breathe here. Each exhale, you can try pulling your belly in towards your spine to give yourself more space for your legs. So we're creating this inverted forward fold. Forward folds naturally bring our attention inward, but then with our feet up in the sky, what we're doing is changing the movement of our own prana, our life force. We're encouraging the vayu, the wind of prana in our legs, to move towards our hips, to move upward. And keep breathing here. Four more deep, full breaths, long exhales. Okay, so now we're going to test the strength of our straps. Your arms come out like airplane wings if you didn't have them there already. Your left arm is going to press down to the earth, and you start to let your legs go over to the right. So if you have no block and no strap, you've got an easier time getting down there. If you've got the strap, you might have to adjust, making sure it's not mushing any body parts. And you're coming over to the side in a little twist. Ideally, your legs are extended straight out to the right. Maybe your feet land on your right hand. And your gaze goes over to the left so that you're creating this full rotation with your torso rotating to the left and down towards the earth, and your legs rotating to the right, away from you. And if you're lucky, you get that big, deep stretch through left IT band, outer calf, hip, etc. So you might feel it in other places too. Deep, full breath, long exhale. Now you might be thinking, wow, I wish I hadn't tightened the strap so much. Keep breathing, big inhales, long exhales. Feel free to open your mouth and breath out if you feel the need. Relax your left arm. Now when you next breathe out, you bend your knees for a little assistance, and then rotate back up to center, feet back up to the ceiling, adjust as you need to, the strap, the block, etc., in order to make sure everything's still attached. We'll pause there, arms wide like airplane wings. And then as you breathe out next, you get to go over to the left side. Right shoulder stays down, right arm down. Stretch your legs over now to the left. Same posture, other side. May feel a little different, and of course you may have to make adjustments in order to move into this pose. Take your time, be gentle with your body. And close your eyes, try to release and relax your arms, your hands, your shoulders remaining on the earth. Stretching, twisting, opening through your right side this time. Maybe getting that feeling through your back, through your torso, maybe through your legs, hips. Make your rest deep and full. Trying to breathe as deeply as you can, and as you do so, relaxing shoulders, elbows, hands, fingers. You've got that block between your feet. It's doing the work for you, so there's very little effort in your legs. Four more deep, full inhales, long exhales, and feel free if you need to open your mouth and your breath out, or maybe this is more where you're like, rah, or maybe you need a little ee. And then to get out of this, with your next exhale, bend your knees a little so you can rotate back to center and let your feet come up to the ceiling. And once you're back up there, just 2 breaths in this pose, an inhale and an exhale. And then again, inhale and exhale. And then when we bend our knees all the way, that should release the strap. Let your feet come down, rooting them. And just pause there, feet on the ground. And stay there for a couple breaths. Might get a little phantom strap experience on your back body or on your feet. Now when you breathe out next, bring your left hand across to the right and roll over to your right side. Your hands make a little pillow. Stay there for a moment. And then use your hands for a little help and come on up until you're in a seated position. Okay, so if there are blocks and stuff on your mat, you're going to move those things out of the way, moving your strap out of the way as well. But we still need our blanket. We're going to roll our blanket up into a cannoli roll. So I like to roll, taking my blanket in this shape. I'm going to roll from the fringe to the fold, so it creates this long, skinny, low-fat cannoli. And then I'm going to put that towards the head side of my mat, so whatever side is your head side. And we're going to keep focusing right on this mid-thoracic zone. And so we're going to come to rest on right side with this part of our body, our mid-thoracic, right on the blanket, with right arm forward. Knees will be bent. I like to do a 90-degree angle, so my knees are straight in line with my hips, and then my ankles are in line with my knees. So I'm creating these nice straight lines. We're going to rest there on the right side with hands stacked. So my palms are stacked with my arms on the earth. And then from there, we'll lift that top arm, left arm up. And you rotate and open, stretching left arm away. And the blanket should line right up with your mid-thoracic spine. Your chest turns to the ceiling. And you're going to allow gravity to push down on your left shoulder and arm, bringing it towards the earth. And again, you're going to fill yourself up as fully as you can, and exhale is completely your breath, expanding and relaxing your torso and stretching intercostal muscles, pectorals, stretching latissimus dorsi, moving obliques. Just keep breathing there. Eventually, maybe you'll rotate and turn your gaze over your left shoulder. Eventually, maybe your left hand, elbow, and shoulder will touch the ground. Try not to bend your arm in order to make that happen. Let your arm continue to extend away. And do your best to keep your shoulders and your chin away from each other. We want to try to create space between our shoulders and our head so that our neck has length and openness. So that brings us back to hum, to Vishuddha, to the throat chakra, to that energetic cluster that indicates space, clarity of speech, truth. I mentioned Dharma at the beginning of our practice. Dharma is our life's work, it's our duty, it's what we're here to do. And pretty much everything we do in our practice of yoga is about identifying that. Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And so our sound vibrations, Om, Aim, and HRIM, train our mind to think about that. Feel that opening across your chest. Maybe you can feel the space between your collarbones. Maybe you can feel all those little muscles, the intercostals in between your rib bones opening up. 4 more conscious breaths here. On your next exhale, we'll move our legs, keeping our arms as they are. Bring your knees towards the ceiling, your feet to the earth, and you're going to bring your mid-thoracic right over the blanket. And for me, it's pretty darn uncomfortable, so I won't be surprised if it's uncomfortable for you, but you're going to feel this big opening across your chest, this lift through your mid-chest, mid-back. And naturally, our thoracic curve moves, in this case, down towards the earth, and so the blanket is forcing it into an opposite or complementary position, and that can be uncomfortable at first. But it undoes all that folding over phones and rounding our backs and carrying our babies and anything else that you're doing on the daily that's forward folding. So then on your next breath out, you're going to roll over to left side and make the same posture, adjusting this time so that the blanket is right underneath that same location. Now on the left, and you can shift forward or backward, adjusting so that you've got the blanket in that same position. I'm just going to rotate around so that I'm still facing forward instead of my backside showing. Arms extend, palms stack. Knees, if you're following me, you're doing that 90-degree angle so that your thighs are stacked, your knees are stacked, your feet are stacked. And your head rests on the earth, and this right arm this time, you're going to lift right arm up, twist and turn and stretch. And there may be a new experience waiting for you as you rotate on this side. Feel free to close your eyes, soften your jaw, relax. Focus on your throat if you want. You can do some hums if you want on your exhale. Feel that opening across your chest. You can always yum. There's no rules against that. And allow gravity to do its job, pressing down on your right shoulder and arm, hopefully giving you space and openness to your right side. And eventually your right hand, right elbow and right shoulder will touch the earth, and you can feel free to turn your head to the right and remember to move your shoulders away from your chin, creating space for your neck, openness for your neck. Each deeper breath, expanding your chest, your torso, giving you more space, more openness, more ha. You might feel as we move through these postures that little bit of warmth, that heat as we stretch out muscles, as we move tendons and ligaments around. That's our raw. And that energetic shift we experience. That's our ha again. Five more breaths, deep and full. So again, to release this posture, we'll move our legs. You can tuck your feet back. Bring your feet to the earth, knees to the ceiling. Again, we're bringing that blanket right underneath the thoracic spine into that uncomfortable position, but allowing it to stretch and open our bodies. Breathe again. And one more. Then you can bring your left hand across over to the right. We'll roll the right side. Hands like a little pillow. Remain there for just a moment and then use your hands for a little help. Come on up. Back into a seated position, and you might really feel, wow, we had the strap back there and then we had the blanket back there, and so now we've got this awareness of our mid-back, hopefully, but hopefully more openness across our chest, a little more space. So we're going to take that same cannoli roll, rotate it so it is lengthwise with our mat, and we'll need our straps again. This time you're going to make your strap just shoulder width distance. So hopefully no matter the length of your strap, you've got enough to go shoulder width distance. Because even if you're using a belt, your belt has to be at least wide enough to go around your hips with a little extra. So it should work, unless you have a child-sized belt. Okay, so when I measure this out, I'm doubling it on itself. So the whole, I'm bringing it together, and then I'm turning that towards me and making the outer edges align with my outer arm. So if you're not familiar with how to measure, there you go. That's my trick. So then we're gonna sit in front of our blanket. Bring it right up against your sacrum. Your sits bones, your gluteals are on the ground. And we wanna lengthen our spines over the blanket. So this cannoli roll is now a nice support for the entirety of your back. But again, hips are on the earth. Your head should have a pillow. If it doesn't, go ahead and grab one, find one, create one so that your head feels supported. Some blankets are not all blankets are made equally, right? Okay, and then the strap goes on your forearms, just below your elbows. So here's my elbow, and the strap is just below it on my forearm, not above it. And not at my wrist either. And then once you have that set up, then we turn palms to face towards thighs, lifting hands towards the ceiling. And then you can keep your knees bent, or I like to extend my legs because then I get a little release through my hips and thighs. And then your arms can go back and overhead. So you get this big opening, and my dream is that someday the backs of my hands will touch the earth. But again, all the activities I've been doing, skiing and biking and stuff, they're all forward movements. So to get my hands to the earth, I need to have some deep releasing happening, and that's what we're working towards today. Close your eyes, and again, let gravity help you out. Stretching your arms back and overhead, back to hands working their way towards the earth. And again, you're gonna feel that stretch through your chest. You might even get bonus stretch here, like our cobra, where you feel that stretch from your pubic bone to your belly button, and then belly button to sternum. This is where you wish like your dog would come in and sit on your hands, keep them warm. Make your breath deep and full, and keep extending, stretching, lengthening. Each inhale, imagine your body getting longer, as though someone were pulling on your hands and pulling on your feet. And then each exhale, let your body drape a little bit more over the blanket, onto the earth. Keep breathing, big inhales, long exhales. 4 more times. So we'll begin by exhaling and lifting up our hands gently and slowly, bringing your arms back up until your fingers stretch to the ceiling. Bend your elbows outward away from each other and then spread your arms, backs of hands on the earth, and just let your arms drop down to the ground so they're heavy and relaxed, and just stay there for a couple breaths. Maybe you get a little tingle through your arms, a little heat, a little cooling. Next exhale, both knees bend, feet on the ground, and we do a little windshield wiper. So you're going to swing your knees side to side like windshield wipers. And then the next time that your knees go over to the right, you're going to roll all the way over, hands becoming a pillow. Lay there on your right side for a moment. Then use your hands for a little help. Come on up all the way to a seated position till you're upright. And do another little check-in. See how you're feeling. Arms, chest, shoulders, head, neck, back body. All right. Next one can use 1 or 2 blocks. If you have 2 blocks, it's ideal. We're going to set up our blocks. I have them at the 6-inch height, so it's level 2. And I'm putting a gap between my blocks. So there's a space between them. It's not huge. It's just a little gap about the length of my palm, right? Then I take my blanket and I place that on top of these 2 guys. So I've got this little bridge, this blanket bridge I've built. So you can use other tools. You can use some pillows. You can use multiple blankets. Books are great. We used to use phone books in the olden days when I first started teaching yoga. Okay, and we're going to sit. You might have noticed I scooched forward because I want my left hip to align with the bottom of the bottom block. So I'm off to the side, and my left hip aligns with the block, and then my knees are just kind of relaxed off to the side. Fingers come to the earth, right hand in front of left thigh, and left hand on the other side of the block. So hold that for a moment so you can get that alignment set up. We're going to take 3 breaths to move into this posture. So the first inhale, we lift up tall, and we exhale, turn left. So now I'm starting to turn towards the blanket, and then I'll sit up a little taller. I'll breathe a little further. I'm trying to turn diagonally off the blanket, and then I'm going to turn a 3rd rotation on my exhale, and that's when I'm going to drop down. I'm turned to the left. The right side of my head comes to the blanket, and my hands come down on either side. Now you can stay like this with hands on either side, or you can bend your elbows and bring your arms in between and rest like that. And some people really like that folded arm position a lot more than having their arms by their side. And we're going to breathe there. So this is mimicking those twists we did before, those ones that we had with our feet in the strap, but a little more restorative, a little more gentle. And do your best in this position to relax your feet, your knees, and allow your body to twist away from your hips. And do your best to relax onto the blankets and the blocks, let them support you. Your arms are just incidental here. You can even try turning your palms to the ceiling to take some of the effort out of your arms, to take some of the work out. And feel free to continue to turn your head around and to the left as far as it wants to go. Again, full breath, inhaling, exhaling deeply and completely. And of course, continually making little micro adjustments in this posture. If you find that you're compressing your abdomen or your chest too much, making adjustments. Four more breaths here. Now we'll remain in this twist, but you can slide your hands out and place them underneath your shoulder. And then use your hands for support. Lift in the twist, so you're still looking to the left. And then when you breathe out, rotate back around to face your knees in that upright position and just pause for a moment. Let everything kind of shift and settle back into place. And then you can just rotate around, turning to the other side so that your knees are to the right. I'm going to move my whole setup here so that I can again face forward instead of backwards. We've got that same setup. Now you're moving so that your right hip is in alignment with the block that's closest to you. Knees are off to the side. They're kind of just stacked in an easy position, whatever feels right to you. And then left hand in front of your thigh, right hand behind you. And we'll sit up tall, deep inhale. As you exhale, you turn, and then you inhale again. Sit up tall. Exhale, turn again. Third time, inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, turn, and then walk your hands forward and come to fold over the block. Left side of head resting on the block. And then, of course, elbows can drop, or you can fold your arms and relax them in that gap between the blocks. One side always feels easier than the other. One side always feels a little more comfortable than the other. So if this is your fidgety side, you just breathe and continue to make minor adjustments, trying to find ease, trying to relax and let go into the posture. Again, trying to not have a ton of weight in your arms. You can always turn your palms to face upward to encourage that sense of release and unweighting. Twisting deeply through our abdomen, through our torso. One of the focal points of HRIM is the idea of consideration for others. And so it might feel when we do our yoga asana practice, our postural practice, that it's just for us. But I always think like, man, on those days when I can't get to an asana practice or I can't exercise in some way, I am not as good a person as on the days when I do get to move, when I do get that opportunity to exercise. I get to express energy and things that I don't get to otherwise. And it makes me a better person. So our practice of posing, our practice of doing asana benefits us as well as others, because it shifts the quality of energy within us, shifts our minds, and gives us the ability to be better people. Keep making minor adjustments as necessary. Four more breaths here. Keep breathing consciously. Keep making your inhales a little fuller. Your exhale's longer. Now again, to leave this posture, we'll maintain the twist. Let hands release, palms on the earth beneath our shoulders, and then shoulders back. We lift up through our spines, rising tall in that rotation, and then breathe out and turn forward. Take a little moment to check in. Big full breath. Feel that openness you've created through your chest and your shoulders and your torso. We've got our digestive system going now, so we'll be ready to eat, or if you already ate, you're going to be hungry again. And we'll take this little building that we made apart. And then instead of a cannoli roll, we're going to use our blanket to make a sushi roll. And so the sushi roll is a chunky little roll. We go from the short end and roll, roll, roll. So whatever your blanket looks like, just make a big fat roll. It should be short and fat. And then once you've got that short fat roll, go ahead and put that right in the middle of your mat. And this is going to be for our low back. So we're going right for lumbar spine, and we'll need our strap again. So first, you're going to sit in front of this, and you'll have to scooch a little bit forward. See how there's a little gap between my bottom and the blanket? Because I want it to go under my low back, not under my sacrum. Your strap's still measured to shoulder width distance, right? So now you're gonna lay over that blanket, and this is my favorite feeling, is when all my low back muscles start to wake up. And if you want to, you could do a little knee rock, because when you do that, you'll get this little stretch through your low back, and that might make it better for you, hopefully. Okay, and then once that feels good, I mean, I could do this all day. We're gonna pause, and then it's up to you. You can keep knees bent, or you can go for full leg extension. It'll be a little more intense when you stretch your legs out long. So you decide what feels good for you. And then we've got our strap that's still to shoulder width distance. We put it in the same position, so just below elbows on our forearms. And fingers up towards the ceiling. Palms again are going to rotate to face towards thighs. And then when you're ready, inhale and stretch your arms overhead. Now, hopefully in this version, the backs of your hands touch the earth, your shoulders touch the earth, and your belly's lifted to the sky, and you just get this great stretch all across your front body. So the twist that we just did over the blocks was this deep side rotation. It came, hips were isolated or limited, and then the rest of our torso is rotating. And the major area that ends up twisting when we do rotations like that is in our low back and our belly, because there's no bones there. There's just spine, and at the bottom is the hips, and then we have our ribs just above, but that's very squishy, that area. And so we're addressing that same zone right now, but we're creating some openness as opposed to in the rotation where we were actually creating a little bit of compression on the inside. Now we're opening through the sides, through our belly. And so you can breathe here and let the strap do its job to keep your arms parallel, let gravity do its job to press your hands and shoulders down, and then just feel that space you're creating. So all the movements in this practice that we did today, you might have noticed we worked from the top down. So we worked from shoulders and chest and head and neck, and then we moved down into torso, and now we move down into abdomen and the hips, and we're just creating this openness, this space. We're connecting again with that idea of Om. Remember I said Om is like removing all the distractions. So it's removing the clutter from the kitchen table, erasing the whiteboard, putting all your toys away, whatever it is, so that then you can see I'm, the creative potential, the possibility, so that you can expand into the space. You can allow your energy to move, so that Ra, you can figure out what you're supposed to do with that space. You can direct your intention. And then E, you can do so with awareness. You can do so with passion. Four more breaths. Maybe you need a ha. Maybe you need a ra. Maybe there's an E in there. All right, so we'll release this posture starting with legs. First, just bend one knee, place that foot upon the earth. Then the other knee bends that foot upon the earth. And then we swing side to side again. So now as you swing, you might notice, holy cow, this affects everything from my hips to my belly to my shoulders. And then if that feels okay, you can go bigger swings, dropping your knees all the way to the right or all the way to the left. There might be a sweet spot where you just want to hang out for a couple breaths. And then we'll find our way to center. Deep inhale, arms extend up and overhead. Fingers reaching towards the ceiling again. And then you can bend your elbows outward and eliminate the strap. And just relax there for a moment. Arms are wide. Deep breath in. And then again, you can rock side to side a couple times before rocking all the way to right side. Roll over, hands like a pillow, and rest for a moment there. So from there, rise on up, come to sitting, and we're going to set up for corpse, which is our final pose of the practice. So I leave it up to you what you do for corpse pose. This practice creates a great opportunity for legs up the wall. So if you have a wall or a sofa or a chair, you can take your blanket and create a little cushion for your bottom. So I just folded my blanket the same way I would if I were putting it away on the proverbial shelf, which is an upside down chair right now. And then to come into legs up the wall, you start sideways and you lay back and then you rotate around and send your legs up. So you can do that version. If you're going over a chair, you of course just slip your legs over a chair. If you don't like this and you don't like having your legs up in the air, don't do it. Just come to rest on your back, or you can even create a cannoli roll again, just like we did before, that long skinny spinal roll. So I'm going to remain upright so that I can guide you through the closing of our practice and of course eventually guide you into the end of the practice. So you set yourselves up in a way that feels comfortable for you. If you're an eye pillow user, go ahead and set up an eye pillow over your eyes. All right. So we do 3 sound vibrations to finish this practice. You're welcome to just listen to me. You're welcome to sing it out loud. You're welcome to whisper or whatever feels right for you. The first sound will be Om. The second will be I'm. And the third will be HRIM, to align with our mindful focus, our mantra focus. So let's begin with a long exhale. Draw in a deep breath. And then exhale again. And this time, inhale for Om. We take a deep breath. Then we inhale for I'm. And then for HRIM. If you'd like to engage in the practice of bandha, the movement of prana through awareness of the energetic locks, you can put your right hand on lower abdomen and left hand on upper chest. And again, we begin with an exhale, all your breath out. When you inhale, lift your pelvic floor and fill your belly, your chest, and your throat with breath. Hold your breath upward and inward. Release your pelvic floor, empty from throat, from chest, from belly. Tilt your chin to your throat and hold your breath out. Then inhale again. Lift with pelvic floor, fill belly, fill chest, fill throat. Hold breath up and in. Release pelvic floor, empty, throat, chest, belly, all your breath out. Chin tilts the throat, hold it out. Third and final round, lift with pelvic floor, fill belly, fill chest, fill throat. Hold your breath up and in. And release pelvic floor, empty throat, empty chest, empty belly, chin to throat, hold it out. Natural in-breath. Natural out-breath. Our final Raja practice. Bring your palms together and begin to rub them vigorously for Antaranga Tratak. Once your palms feel warm, turn them to your face and cup your hands over your eyes, fingers over forehead, and look into the darkness within you and seek your own soul, your spirit, your spark within. Keeping your gaze inward. Cross your arms over your chest, hands to opposite shoulders. Lift elbows to forehead, and then spread your arms wide and let the backs of your hands rest upon the earth, retaining your attention inward, detach from the distractions, from the physical, from the things you do not need, and settle into this practice of pratyahara and dharana, internal awareness and mindful focus. Listen for the sound of your own breath, for your inhales and your exhales. Begin the effortful practice of breathing deeply, inhaling as fully as you can, exhaling completely. And as you breathe, once again, become aware of the space you've created in your torso and your chest, both front and back and to each side. And let your awareness shift outward through arms and legs to hands and feet, fingers and toes, head and neck, and start to wiggle fingers and toes. Open and close your hands and point and flex your feet. And then move your wrists, your ankles, and turn your head side to side. With a deepened breath, stretch and extend. Awaken your body from toes to fingers and tail to crown. And breathing out, it's up to you. You can draw your knees into your chest and take your hands to the backs of your thighs, or place your feet on the ground. And just pause for a moment and once more turn within and honor in yourself peace, contentment, divinity. Gently roll to your right side, make your hands like a pillow, and laying on your right side, release, letting go of ignorance, impurities, and distractions, draining them away into the ground. And gently rise through your side, come up to a cross-legged seat. And once you're upright, bring your palms together and lift your hands, pointing your thumbs to the center of your chest. Create Anjali Mudra, our attitude of offering. Offer peace for yourself. Om Shanti. For others, Om Shanti. And throughout the multiverse, Om Shanti. And I thank you for the honor of sharing the practice and the mirrors provided while we do so. Namaste.
Namaste.